Hey all, welcome back to Fuzzy Ducks Gaming, and a very quick video on the channel, just running over a POB that I've put together for the Lightning Strike build I'm going to work on. I am working on the League Start Guide, but it's not going to be ready for a couple of days because I want to make sure it's as thorough as it possibly can be. I have seen a lot of comments on my video, other people's videos saying this build is 100% bait, you're on the wrong ascendancy, and I want to explain why I'm doing this build and why I think it works really well. The main reason I'm running this build is because I want to clear my Atlas as cheap as possible, because I don't want to get stuck into a build when it turns out with the new crafting and new items that there's a much better way to do it, and I've already invested, 4 or 5 divines into my build. What I want to do is a build that costs me 30 to 40 chaos, and I can clear my Atlas and get my first 2 voidstones, and this will 100% do it. So the POB that you're looking at is using the beta build from Path of Building. So it's got the new skill trees and it's got the new ascendancies, as you can see here. The fortifier is only 15. We lose the node that gave you more damage, more armor, more evasion. So this is set up as per the new league. In terms of the skill gems, just for Vile Lightning Strike and Lightning Strike, I've gone in and manually changed the config in Path of Building so that it represents the right effectiveness of added damage and it removes the flat damage. So we have Lightning Strike at 456% of base. We have Vile Lightning Strike at 237%. I've set the correct mana cost at 10, and we've removed the flat damage. So this is exactly as per this skill will work in the game. Other than cheap uniques that I'm using, I bought these 2 last league, literally 4 hours into the league for 4C each. The next day they were 2. The Perseverance I bought for 2 to 3C, and the Jewel I bought for 2. Other than that, everything is just blank. So it's a helmet with nothing on it, body armor, nothing on it, gloves, nothing on it, boots, just some movement speed, amulet, just an anoint, empty ring, and I've not put any of my flasks on. All I've done in configuration is just set up a little config so that the POB meets the attribute and the elemental resistance requirements. That's it. I've set up the build as per it would be. We get frenzy charges through a mastery, adrenaline through our ascendancy, same with intimidate and taunt. We will get point blank, which is why I've put the projectile distance to here. We will shock because we're going to be doing a ton of lightning damage. I've set that conservatively at 15, and we've set it to guardian and pinnacle bosses. I've set all of the gem levels for all of my skills just to 20, and there are no skills that won't be active on bosses. There's a smite and a adrenaline buff that you'll activate manually, and then sniper's mark will mark obviously automatically once you hit a boss. I've also set the correct levels for determination. So determination is only giving me 1,000 armor as per the new league, and grace is only giving me 1,400. I think it actually goes up to 1,500. So these are slightly worse because as you push them up, your more evasion rating and your more armor rating goes up a bit, but I just didn't want to amend too many gems. And as you can see, in terms of the damage, you're looking at 2.8 million burst damage when you've got your Vile skill active. If we take that off, you're looking at 2.2 million DPS on pinnacles, which you're not going to be tackling pinnacles with no gear. If you just go to a standard map boss, you're looking at 2.3 million, but for those you will have your Vile skill up, so you can again enable that. And you're looking at 3 million burst damage on what is going to be 30 chaos, I would think, maybe even less than that. And this is what I wanted to go through as terms of a base POB. I wanted to show you a no bullshit, this is what it is with no gear. Obviously, once you start essence crafting some gear with flat lightning on it, attack speed, you get some implicits on your gear, it's going to be much better than that. And as you can see, the mana cost is the one thing that's going to be a problem for a lot of melee builds, because inspiration is changing. So I think this mana cost is realistically going to be about 30. But as you can see from the tree alone, I've got 100 mana. With multi-strike, having enough to attack 3 times is ample. You really don't need any more than that because you're going to be leeching mana. And as you can see, the leech rate is insanely high. So I have no concerns over mana cost, and there are nodes on the tree if you wanted to just to take to reduce them. You could take these 3 nodes here, and then your mana cost plummets down to 12. With the new inspiration, that might be around 16. But I can't see any roadblocks for this build. I'm sure there's going to be people coming up with better, more interesting, more fun Lightning Strike versions. My worry about this league is everyone goes Lightning Strike, everyone goes Crit Claw, and then the gear gets really expensive. I want a different way to approach it so that I know it doesn't matter what gear costs. Ichimonji is never going to be a lot. No one uses them, and they're super, super common. Same with Perseverance because Champion's dead, so no one's going to run it. And the same with the Inertia Jewel. I know that no matter what happens to the market at League Start, I can get this build going. Even if my swords ended up being 15C, which would be insane. that's not a huge amount of money to pay for gear that I need on this build to help me clear the Atlas. I'm not going to go through too much more because it's all going to be explained in the build guide. I just wanted to bring this video out to show people like a no bullshit, no gear. This is the minimum damage that you can get on bosses with nothing. And then the last thing I wanted to go over before I sign off is just the base defenses that come with the build. So I've turned off Molten Shell. I've put my flaps on because this would be your mapping environment. And then I've just put a little bit extra in the config. The more armor and more evasion is just what we'll get from Grace and Determination because I've had to set lower levels. I've assumed you've got 350 life across all of your gear. And then you've just got a little bit of increased armor and increased evasion just from mods on gear. That gives you a pretty decent max fizz hit of nearly 10k. That is without anything on top of it. And in normal maps, nothing's going to hit you for that much unless you've got an absolutely horribly rolled map. You've got block chance of 37% and spell suppression of 90. As you gear up and you level up, you've got options. You could, even though it would be a bit horrible to color, you can go for an armor and evasion chest, all armor and evasion gear. And then on this tree, you can take the 15% suppression mastery. That's going to take your spell suppression to 99%. You could just take these two nodes here. That's going to put it up to 98. Or you might decide for your next 3 points, you're going to go here and give yourself 53% block with an armor and evasion chest. So this would take you to 99% spell suppression, 53% chance to block attack damage. You max any res, and obviously you've got this max fizz hit here. And this is another reason why I want to go champion. Because we can now take the taunt node here. That's 10% reduced damage taken if we've taunted an enemy recently, and we have a 100% chance to taunt on hit. We have adrenaline, which gives us reduced physical damage received, and we've obviously got our 15 fortification stacks, along with the armor and evasion that we get from scaling Grace and Determination as much as it allows us to in the new league. These are pretty conservative numbers because it looks like you can get absolutely huge life on gear. So let's say when you gear up even more, you might have 450 life on your gear, you might have more armor and evasion. So these stats will just go up and up and up. And I think that's going to massively help for melee. I do think other ascendancies with better gear will do much more damage. So once a warden set up, it will do more damage, but it looks pretty horrendous, in my opinion, as a league starter. Deadeye obviously is going to come out the box flying with extra projectiles, extra damage, tailwind, but very little defenses. You get hit as a Deadeye, you're dead. You pretty much have to run a 6-link lightning coil, which then puts it above the budget I want to spend at league start. So I think overall as a package, this may not be the best way to build this character, but we get solid defenses with nothing. We get pretty decent damage with nothing, which means every bit of gear that you improve increases both your damage and your defenses. Along with that, speed is vitally important to me, and that again is why I'm going champion. Adrenaline gives us extra speed. Perseverance belt gives us onslaught when we have fortify. We can then get extra onslaught effect. It just makes the character feel really good early game. And one thing I really dislike about melee builds is how they can feel clunky until you get a few divines worth of gear. With this, honestly, once you get 80 to 85 levels, you got your 2 Ichimonjis, you're going to be able to breeze through early tier red maps. Then as you start hitting 89, 90 and your gems start leveling up, you'll be crushing T16 maps as well. So I think it's a really, really good option. It's what I'm doing. I'm not telling anyone or advising anyone to do it. It's just what I'm going to be doing. That's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.